Hi everyone, this is Professor Davis. I'm going to try and show a video that will help with the research for workshop 3, and maybe even if we have time, workshop 4, the introduction. Workshop 3 is finding sources that cover the duties and responsibilities um, for most of the questions of a profession or parenting. And I'm going to start by going to the library. I already did that. I'm going to go to the databases. I'm going to click A through Z list, click on S for summon. Then I'm going to click on a summon search. I'm going to use diagnostic medical imaging because I've seen that come up as a topic. I'm going to try parenting as well. And what I'm going to do, because I have learned from the research of my students in the past, I'm going to try handbook and diagnostic medical imaging. And now I'm not gonna just pick the first thing that I see. I'm gonna look for something that kind of looks basic. This is like basic quality control tests for diagnostic radiology. I'm gonna keep looking. Handbook for medical imaging processing and analysis. That looks specific. MRI is very specific. That looks specific to me. This looks specific to me. Okay, look at this is here's what I like. This says a pocket guide, so I know it's not going to be too big to medical imaging. So I'm going to click on full text online. I'm going to scroll down and it's going to be I'm going to look in EBSCO ebooks. We're allowed to use ebooks because we can cite those. Unless you have permission from me a week before you submit the essay, you cannot use print books like paper, hardbound, like, or softback books, unless you get permission from me. Most books are online. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this first through the e-publication because I'm going to look through it. And I'm going to go to the preface. Sometimes the preface, which is like kind of like an introduction, will have information that we can use. And what I've done is I wrote down some keywords that I'm going to look for, including radiologist, provider, patient, duties and responsibilities. And I'm going to try some of these. I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to press Command and hold that down and press F. If you're on a PC, you press Control F, and I'm going to try radiologist at first. Just. And I see it's not found, so I'm going to try patient. Because I think that if I can find the word patient, it'll bring me, nope, that does not work. I'm going to say order because you have to order images. Okay, 3 parts. Ordering schemes, general information, practicing. Okay. So this is a basic introduction to medical imaging interpretation for medical students and nanoradiologists. This pocket reference is organized into 3 parts: ordering schemes, general information, and practice imaging images. Ordering schemes in part 1 of this book as a general guide for requesting the appropriate test. Okay, that looks related. And so I'm going to go over to where it's on the table of contents in the ebook and click on ordering schemes. And now that I'm in a new chapter, I'm going to try my tricks again to see if I can go right to a quote that will give us, okay, there's only one there. Right to quotes that will give us, so I'm using the Spotlight search that I pulled up by pressing Command F. I put in radiologist. I'm going to put in provider. That doesn't help. I'm going to put in patient. Okay. I'm skimming right now. And so, like when I was quiet just now for a second, I was skimming to see if there's anything in here that tells me what does a radiologist do? And it doesn't tell me that. And so I'm going to skim. I'm going to go down to the, I'm going to go up to my spotlight search and click on the second one, ultrasounds. Okay. No. So here's a bunch of tables. We can't really include this information. And so that doesn't necessarily look like it's going to help me out. And so now I'm going to do imaging overview. I'm just going to start looking around. And it looks like this is different parts. So I'm going to open up the chapters. I'm going to click on chapter one, X-rays. I'm going to try my spotlight search again. Remember, I pressed Command F or Control F to get this little searchlight up here. And it has patient twice. So I'm going to go to, okay. The first element of radiation safety is time. As healthcare providers, we must limit the amount of time that we and our patients are exposed to radiation. The second safety is distance, the energy, da, 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 da. That's interesting. This could give me a quote that I could use in my paper. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to docs. This is what I'm going to use for the purposes of um, this video. And I'm going to put like workshop 3. And then I'm going to go over where was my quote. I'm going to copy that. Let's see if that works. It does. And so I'm going to put quotation marks around that. And now I'm going to get the text. What's the source called? The Radiology Handbook. I'm going to do a parenthetical citation. And you know what I need to do before I do that? I'm going to go here and I'm going to look at who are the authors of this. It looks like it's just one author. We use last names. I'm going to copy that. And then the date of publication for this is 2006, um, which I see right up here. Just want to double check to make sure. Creation date 2006. Okay. Double checking everything. So I'm going to put in the author's name. I'm in Google Docs, so I am going to clear the text, get out that extra line. I'm going to change this to Times New Roman, make it big like the rest, and put 2006. And then to make it even more clear, I'm going to say like if I'm going to use this quote in what is this source called? Oops. Will you let me copy that? Nope. I'll copy it from here. Copy, paste. I'm going to reformat that. So I'm going to take out the tech. I'm doing clear formatting. And we're going to put that as Times New Roman. We'll fix it all later. When you use a book, books go in italics. So I'm going to put it in italics. And then instead of in, it makes more sense if I say, according to the Radiology Handbook, I'm going to take out this extra space, a pocket guide to medical imaging. The first element of radiation safety is time. As healthcare providers, we must limit the amount of time we put our that we and our patients are exposed to radiation. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this for a second. So I just paused the video for a second, and what I did is I have Google Docs downloaded on my phone. I opened up this document that I created. You saw me create it in this video. Because what I want to do next is I want to do speech to text. I don't want to I want to write um like just using my own voice, speech to text, so that makes it easier for me. And so I'm on my phone. I open up my Google Doc. I can't show you that on the video. I move the cursor to where you see it now, where you see that green line over here. And then I'm gonna click on the microphone when I'm ready to talk and explain this quote in my own words, just using my own voice. And you can say period, comma, etc. when you're doing this. So here I go. I'm gonna press the microphone on my phone because I'm in the Google Doc on my phone, and so it's gonna change it in here as well. In this quote, comma, Ben Stiller draws attention to the importance of the radiologist. Oops. The radiologist, the radiologist, limiting the amount of time that a patient is exposed to radiation during an X-ray, period. And then I stopped I pressed the microphone button again to stop it from doing speech to text. And what I'm going to do is I got to double check to make sure I didn't actually use some of the words in here. And so it says in this quote, no, Ben Stiller. Ha! Ben Stiller. I'm going to correct the name. And I'm going to put the year in. Oops. Draws attention to the importance of the radiologist limiting the amount of time that a patient is exposed to radiation during an X-ray. And what I can see, because I'm reading that as I look at this quote too, patients are exposed to radiation. And that's sort of the same wording. And so that could be considered accidental plagiarism. Um, what's another word for exposed? I'm gonna go look that up because I can't even think of it. So I'm going, if you notice, I opened another tab. I'm doing it, thesaurus, exposed. And there's not a good example there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it myself, like a patient, limiting the, I can think of spends, the amount of time that a patient spends, um, getting an X-ray due to radiation. Okay. Is there anything else in this quote that, no, there's not. And so I need to find like more information from my source. So I'm going to say this is going to be helping me out with the same idea. As Benseller um, stated, comma, and I'm gonna put up my quotation marks so I don't accidentally do it. And then did I grab that quote? I'm going to press Command C or Control C to copy just to do it fast. And then Command V as in Victor or Control V to paste. And I'm going to put my quote there. Um, as Ben Stiller stated, it is also important to limit the distance. I'm going to do a colon because that's going to tell us that what comes after. The further we are from the source of radiation, the safer we are. Okay. I'm going to put that year in. Finally, because I could see that it was 3 steps, third element of safety is shielding. By covering the body with a protective metallic shield, we can effectively limit the dose of radiation to that part of the body. I'm going to copy that. I press Command C or Control C. My bad. I'll put quotation marks around this immediately so I don't accidentally attribute it to my own words. Finally, Ben Seller emphasized the third element of safety is shielding. By covering the body with a protective metallic shield, we can effectively limit the dose of radiation. Okay, so here I'm going to kind of try and sum up what I said in this paragraph. I'm going to use speech to text again. So I'm on my phone. I'm going to press the microphone button. Here we can see that one of the main duties of a radiologist is to follow steps that help us keep the patient safe from the radiation of an X-ray, period. Okay, I'm going to stop my whatever. Now I'm going to read my paragraph back. According to the Radiology Handbook, a pocket guide to medical imaging, quote, the first element of radiation safety is time. As healthcare providers, we must limit the amount of time that we and our patients are exposed to radiation. In this quote, and then I cite the quote, right? In this quote, Bensler 2006 draws attention to the importance of the radiologist limiting the amount of time that a patient spends getting an X-ray due to radiation. Good. As Bensler 2006 stated, it is also important to limit the distance. Quote, the further we are from the source of radiation, the safer we are. Finally, we don't need to really add to that, right? Finally, Bensler emphasized, quote, the third element of safety is shielding. By covering the body with a protective metallic shield, we can effectively limit the dose of radiation to that part of the body. Here we can see that one of the main duties of a radiologist is to follow steps that help us keep the patient safe from the radiation of an X-ray. And now I'm going to kind of like sum it up. I'm going to do that in my own words, and I'm going to use the speech to text from my Google Doc that's open on my phone. In short, comma, there are 3 factors a radiologist needs to keep in mind when administering an X-ray, period. First, the amount of time, comma. Second, the distance, comma. And third, the importance of shielding, period. I'm going to quit talking to my phone for that. And what I notice is I don't really have a topic sentence here. It jumps right into the quotes. This is my evidence, the proof that what I'm saying is true. And so I'm going to add a topic sentence. I'm going to put the cursor right here. What's the main focus of this? It's safety um, when we're giving x-rays. And so I'm going to go back over to my phone. I'm going to click the cursor at the front because I think I can just say this so that I create a topic sentence. And I'm going to try and state the main idea or purpose of the paragraph. And I'll see if I can say it. So I'm going to go over to my phone. I'm going to click on the microphone. One of the key duties of a radiologist is maintaining safety during x-rays, period. I stopped the microphone there. One of the key duties of a radiologist is maintaining safety during x-rays, according to this, blah, blah, blah. That's perfect. Okay. So then what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to highlight the whole thing. I'm going to change it to 12 point. It's Times New Roman. I'm going to go to format, line spacing, one double. Look at that. That's a nice paragraph. I'm going to click tab right there. And I'm going to press Command plus sign just so it's bigger for me to see because I have poor eyesight. And every single time, and now I'm looking to make sure that every single time I say the name of the author, it has the 2006, and that I say the name of the author with every quote. Finally, bestseller. Yep. Not bad. That's a good paragraph for essay one. It focuses on one of the main duties of a radiologist, and it talks about, it focuses on x-rays and safety. And then I copied and pasted stuff that wasn't too hard to find. It might be harder when you're doing this on your own. Full disclosure, like I did do a little bit of research before I started this video so that the video is not too long to watch. But I did go directly to this source. And what I did is, once I found the source, I first looked in the preface. The preface is like the intro, because sometimes it'll give you information there that you can use. It didn't. I started using keyword searches. It wasn't as useful as I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be easy, so I could show you that that can be useful. And then I went into the chapters, and when I got to this chapter, and I went to chapter one in here by clicking on this little arrow over here, and got to X-rays. It was pretty easy. I think we did use a keyword search. I can't remember to find one of the things that we could put in our paper that is a basic and important duty of a professional in diagnostic medical imaging and radiology. And so I'm going to stop after I show one more search. So I'm going to go to summon again. And I'm going to put also here like handbook of parenting, because I know some of you are writing about parenting. And look at how many of these there are. What sucks is that you might have to look at more than one before you find stuff on what, for essay one, are the best ways to teach children something. But other things that we can do is we can define parenting and things like that. And so if I look in here, I'm gonna go to, I like EBSCOhost or eBook Centrals. In this case, I'm gonna click on that link. We can download this book. I'm gonna read it online because I don't want to like take up space on my computer. Here's the table of contents. We can contents. We can look in this book for the word teach, and it's gonna show us by maybe like these little things. I'm not sure how to search in a more easy way than that. I think chapter 3 is going to have the word search in it. On page 45, develop and teach teenage parents effective. That's not what we're looking for. I'm clicking on the little, if you notice in the chapters, some of them have like a little purple or whatever dot at that measure. Teach children the family rules. Okay, that sounds like it could be interesting. Chapter 4, page 46. So I'm going to go to chapter 4 or 68. I'm on that page, and so I'm going to press Control F or Command F on my computer, and I'm going to put in the word teach, which I spelled wrong. All right, why aren't you showing up for me? Maybe I need to download the PDF. Here it is, teach. Teach children the family rules. Everyone needs some self-discipline or rules of conduct in order to adjust. That doesn't really work with self-compassion, so I probably wouldn't include that. Page 73, teach them parenting skills. That's teaching parents parenting skills. That's not going to work. But parents teach their children about race and society changes depending on the child. That's not exactly the basics that we're looking for. Maybe here. Professionals and are reluctant to, quote, tell them how to teach. That doesn't look right. Toys, teach your child left and right. Make great toys, teach your child left and right. Play rhyming games with your child. Ah, that looks like it could be useful. I'm gonna go to page 209. Ways parents can promote academic success. Talk with your child, read to your child often, teach your child da da da. Okay, this is a list of stuff that we could like maybe even draw from for a paper for a paragraph on parents teaching their children stuff. And so I would, that was on page, was it right here? No, here. That was on page 209. I can see it right here. And so I'm going to go back over to my source. The topic, I mean, the title of this is called The Handbook of Parenting Theory and Research for Practice. And it has two authors, um, Hoff Huey and Long, it looks like, published in 2004. And so if I were going to write a paragraph, like let's say I looked at this stuff a little bit more closely, my bad, on here, and there's some good stuff. I could write a paragraph the same way I did over here, but just using a different source and a different authors and a different years, 2004, right? But that's some search tips on how to do that. A cool thing about finally, and I'll wrap it up. A cool thing about this is that once you have this source, you can keep using it maybe for the whole paper. And the cool thing about this is too, it gives us the citation. When you write your paper, you got to put a reference page. So I'm going to click on I clicked on citation at the bottom. I'm going to click on APA 6th edition. I'm going to copy that. Command C. Put this over here. Save it for later so I can put it on my reference page. That way I don't have to hand type everything out. Way to format this is you highlight it when you get to your reference page. Go to Format, Align and Indent, Indentation Options. Shoot, that's not it. What is it? Is it this? No. And it's not Align and Indent. Shoot. You know what? I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm going to cut this part out of the video. Um, in any case, those are my suggestions for um, how to do workshop 3, or if you need to redo workshop 3 for the paper because you focused on a source that is too specific and it doesn't go over the basics of what you're talking about. That's a suggestion for how to do that.